welcome back. This is episode 2 of Comic Wars. I got some really good feedback from the first one I did, because I was very dubious about carrying it on, because I watched the video back to myself before I uploaded it, and I've just kind of thought, I'm babbling a little bit, no one's going to find this interesting, but I got some really good feedback from it, so I'm very excited to kind of press on with this. So we reviewed Venomized last issue. We reviewed Venomized in the last episode, which is a fantastic story, and I'll leave a link to that video down below so you can go back and check it out if you haven't already watched it. But we're going to get on with today's review. So I've picked out something from my own collection this time, not something someone else has sent me. This is a personal favourite of mine. I've read this multiple times. I've had a brief little kind of flick through it before I started filming this, just to kind of refresh my memory, so to speak, because it's quite a big book. It's a very prominent story in the Marvel universe, and one I really hope, because obviously Marvel Studios owns pretty much most of the rights to everything again now, so this is something I hope they make or adapt in some form or another in the near future. We're going to review the Avengers vs X-Men, which, as you can see, is a beast of a book. Not the biggest one that I have though. Secret Empire must be the biggest book that I own. I'll be touching upon that one at some point or another. I'm going to read the description from the back first, so just to give you guys a bit of an idea. A legendary team of heroes forged by fate and dedicated to protecting the innocent against threats too great for any single champion to... You know all about the Avengers, you know what they do. And it's just a description of the X-Men, which you don't need that, surely, unless you don't know who the X-Men are. So we get to this main story here. With the mutant race on the verge of extinction, Cyclops, leader of the X-Men, is willing to do anything to save his people. All of his hopes rest on one young girl, Hope Summers, hailed as the mutant messiah, but only Hope is destined to be the host to the Phoenix, a cosmic force of death and rebirth. But will she save the entire mutant race or destroy the world? It's a risk that Captain America, Iron Man 4 and the Avengers are not willing to take. With the fate of the Earth at stake, the two greatest superhero teams in the Marvel Universe go to war. So think Civil War, except on more of a global, superpowered scale. That's what I get from this book when I read it. As I said, I've read this multiple times. It's an absolutely fantastic story. It incorporates the whole Phoenix Force element, which is a very prominent kind of thing in the X-Men universe. No Dark Phoenix, but long and short of it, there's more than one Phoenix Force host come to. But if you read the book, you'll see how that comes to be. I'm not gonna spoil too much of this if you haven't already read it. But what we're gonna do, I'm gonna have a little flick through this. I'm gonna show you some of my highlights from this book and some of the artwork, so you guys get an idea of kind of the scope of this book before you even get into it. You get this with most Marvel comics now. They'll show you what characters feature in the book, and obviously this is just the Avengers lineup that you get in this story. So it is a Marvel Universe kind of wide story, and then you've got down at the bottom here all the X-Men that join. So you've got the likes of Hope Summers. It's a key element to the story, as you can already tell from the description I read out. Cyclops, Namor is on the X-Men team. I didn't know he was an X-Man. You got Domino, Psylocke, Gambit. There's even some X-Men that aren't as prominent. There's Warpath, Magma, Danger. But there's just all sorts of X-Men characters in this. And then from the Avengers team, you've got War Machine, Black Widow, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. Interesting. I didn't realise this before. Two things. One, it features the Shuri incarnation of the Black Panther, because we all know that Shuri takes over the Black Panther mantle at some point or another. And strangely enough, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are featured on the Avengers lineup in this, which is weird because they are the children of Magneto, so surely they'd be siding with the X-Men. as soon as you start reading this, like you jump straight into the action. You've got Scarlet Witch versus MODOK. Like, some of the artwork in this is absolutely fantastic. Like, I love these like kind of one-shot pages, as I like to call them, where like there's literally just one frame and you can see all the detail on the artwork, but even in the smaller frames, like the details bloody fantastic. Right. I'm not a big fan of MODOK, so I'm just going to skip past this one. Like, the general catalyst for this story is the mutant race is on the verge of extinction, and the only way that it could be revived is through Hope Summers, I believe is Cyclops' daughter. As I said, I had a very quick skim through this just before I started filming this, so if I get anything wrong and any of you guys realise it, please let me know. But basically, you get to the end of the first chapter here, and the Phoenix Force is coming to Earth, and I believe it comes for Hope Summers. And that's where everything kind of kicks off. The Avengers don't like it. They want to kick ass, basically. This is something I never really understood. A lot of these like kind of like 10 graphic novels, they feature this. Where is it? Yeah, this AR symbol. I've tried this out, and like the AR doesn't really work very well. I mean, I'm on an iPhone XR now, so maybe it'll work better. This is back when I had like a Sony Ericsson or something like that. The grand scope of this story, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Like, they managed to kind of balance it out with all the characters equally. Like, not one character is left on the sidelines. Everyone has their moment. This is when the Avengers realise that like shit comes to shove. I have actually said there will be swearing in this, so I'm sorry if I offend anyone. Nova gets sent back to Earth, saying it's coming. He's encountered the Phoenix Force basically, and the Avengers aren't happy about it. It kind of almost harks back to like in Infinity War, when like the film adapts this in some form or another, but when like in the film, when Bruce Banner gets sent back to Earth by Heimdall, he's essentially a herald for the oncoming like kind of threat. Doctor Strange and Wong find him, but in the actual like graphic novel, it's a Silver Surfer that gets sent crashing down to Earth. So that kind of is like a mirror image for me, seeing that. And we come to chapter 4 here, and this is when kind of like the Avengers and the X-Men are almost kind of in sort of a brief unity. They realise they have a kind of a common goal to achieve, and that's to get Hope so they can get rid of this Phoenix Force, I guess. But on the left here, you got Wolverine like kind of freezing his nuts off in the snow. I think that's hilarious. I don't know why I find that so funny. But the Avengers kind of going to space, trying to stop the Phoenix Force, or like go after Hope. Again, with this kind of like integrating all the characters thing, it's brilliant. Like you've got a frame here. In one frame you've got Iron Fist, Quicksilver, the Black Panther, Storm, Black Widow. In another frame you've got the Thing, Namor, Luke Cage. Like, they really just managed to kind of cross everything over into one kind of thing, and that would be brilliant to see on film. This would be the story to bring the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not a direct adaptation, but kind of like, I don't take elements, so to speak. Kind of like what they did with Civil War. Like Civil War was sort of like the film was a very minuscule version of what the comic was. So if they did that, the same thing for the X-Men versus Avengers, like that, I think that'd be bloody brilliant. I've skipped a fair bit through the book here now because I'm not gonna lie, my direct memory of the full story of this isn't amazing, but I remember just about enough. But like, I know for a fact we get to this point, troops have gathered in Wakanda, and they're basically like not so much admitting defeat, but they're very, very close to it. But I think around this point is where like there's like 5 of the X-Men that have actually absorbed the Phoenix Force, but the Phoenix Force is broken up into 5, which means it is weaker in each person. So I think in the long run that makes the overall outcome a lot more kind of attainable for the remaining Avengers and X-Men. This really is kind of similar to Civil War, except it's has a lot more action, there's a lot more kind of like, I don't know, heartache for the characters in this. Now this for me is my favourite frame in the entire book. Colossus, just one swipe, he's taken out the God of Thunder. That's brilliant. I don't really recall reading many other books where like the character interactivity is so, I don't know. I don't know what the word is for it, really. Ugh, don't remember this. I think I'm gonna actually have to sit down and do a proper read of this after I finish filming this. I do not remember. Oh, that looks disgusting. Looks like they're in like a spider cave or something like that. I know it's not a spider cave, but it just, at this point, it seems like all hope is lost. This guy is a douchebag in this. He's very much like, it's very much of the persuasion he's doing the right thing, but actually it's not necessarily the right thing for the planet. But he's so absorbed in that kind of mindset that he will do anything to protect his own, to protect the situation. Pretty much where it climaxes. Magneto taking his stand against Cyclops, basically telling him he's out of order, he needs a timeout. And as we come to the end of this book, there's kind of a sense of recovery here. That very last frame states the rebirth. So it's kind of like resetting the scope a little bit. But that is Avengers vs X-Men. I admit I probably should have read this properly before I filmed this, but this is a book I really wanted to touch upon and I wanted to get it out quite soon. But that for me is a 10 out of 10, just because it is a very it's a very complex story. The artwork is brilliant. I believe this is Bendis. Yes, Brian Michael Bendis. It's all definitely a go-to for me. If his name's on a graphic novel, I will read it. No hesitation. But that is a 10 out of 10 for me. And that is Comic Wars episode 2, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for watching. I hope my babbling hasn't been too distracting. If there's a graphic novel that you'd like me to review, please leave a comment down below, let me know, and I'm pretty sure I can kind of scope that out. Next episode, I'm hopefully going to be reviewing either Venomverse or Absolute Carnage. I've still yet to read Absolute Carnage, but I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that one. If you enjoy this and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below, chat with me down there. Ding that notification bell so you know when the next Comic Wars goes up. And give us a like. That's all I've got to say for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Ta-ta for now.